The Dawn AC Rivaroxaban module allows you to both initiate and manage your Rivaroxaban patients effectively. The module works on questionnaires to initiate patients onto Rivaroxaban if they are suitable, move them to Rivaroxaban therapy within Dawn, and then track the patient at various intervals as per your local protocol. When you use Dawn AC, this is the patient screen that you'll be used to seeing, showing a typical patient on warfarin treatment, with the history panel at the bottom showing previous INRs and doses, and the dosing tab at the top where you would normally enter the INR, dose, and next test date. So this patient is on warfarin, but I want to move him over to Rivaroxaban. In order to do this, I need to complete a candidate initiation questionnaire to firstly determine if he is suitable to be moved over to Rivaroxaban. The questionnaire tab at the bottom holds the relevant questionnaires available, and if I select this and then click on the form icon, this will bring up a list of available questionnaires. So I need to select the Rivaroxaban candidate questionnaire. This then opens the questionnaire ready to be completed, and you can see at the top that there are some fields that have been pre-populated from the patient record within Dawn, so the patient name, the unit number, and also the due date, which will revert to the day you're completing it. It also contains the treatment plan summary, which is a summary of the patient's current treatment plan within Dawn. So it shows the patient's diagnosis, it shows that they are currently on a regime of warfarin 1 mg strength per day. It shows the start date, the duration, and the status of the patient. So if your anticoagulation service monitors patients at various clinics and locations, you can select the appropriate clinic on the drop-down list here, where it says to be completed at. As we scroll down, we can see the questions then begin to start. So visit type is recorded. The therapeutic indication, this is a list of all the allowed therapeutic indications for Rivaroxaban. Again, if we're switching from a VKA, we need to enter the current INR, and if we're starting Rivaroxaban for a patient with atrial fibrillation or valvular as therapeutic indication, we need to make sure that their INR is less than 3 to be able to start them. Planned end date of current anticoagulation can be yesterday, and the start date of the Rivaroxaban as today's date. You are then able to enter the creatinine clearance and the eGFR values in the fields directly. Alternatively, if you're unsure of these, we can enter the serum creatinine and the body weight in the Cockcroft-Gault calculator and hit calculate. This will calculate the creatinine clearance, and if the patient comes up as having severely impaired renal function as a result of the information you've put into those fields, it will be flagged in red, and Dawn will not suggest the patient as being a suitable candidate for Rivaroxaban therapy. There's a free text field for adding other tests, and then we come to other relevant information. Contraindicated drugs. If the patient is taking a contraindicated drug and you select it on the list, it will be flagged in red, in which case Dawn will not suggest the patient as a suitable candidate for Rivaroxaban therapy. Interacting drugs. If the patient is taking an interacting drug, when you select it on the screen, it will come up with a red warning, and where it says click for more details, it will take you directly to official guidance on what approach to take if the patient is taking that particular drug. There's the option to record any other anticoagulant or platelet inhibitors and other contraindications also. Again, if one of them is clicked, a warning will come up and Dawn will prevent you from moving the patient onto Rivaroxaban. Hemorrhagic risk can be recorded, and also a free text box for any other relevant medical history or other notes that you wish to make. You can record the CHADS2 score and the HASBLED score by adding them up and selecting from the drop-down menu the appropriate number. There's also a free text box for any procedures the patient has planned, and you can select who it is who will be responsible for monitoring the patient on Rivaroxaban. We'll select anticoagulation clinic. You can then see a key information summary box which holds all the information relevant to putting the patient on Rivaroxaban therapy that you've previously entered into the questionnaire. So Dawn has taken all this information and has determined that the patient is suitable for Rivaroxaban therapy and presents the options for dosing. So here we can see Rivaroxaban 20 mg once daily and Rivaroxaban 15 mg once daily are the possible dose options for this patient. Dawn is also suggesting a dose from those that are presented. So the suggested dose from Dawn is 20 mg once daily with the evening meal. However, there is also a reminder below this on the screen that while Dawn is suggesting a suitable dose, you are required to use your clinical judgment to determine whether it is the most suitable dose for the patient before choosing it. So we decide that the Dawn suggested dose is appropriate and we select it from the Rivaroxaban dose drop-down. Once that's done, we can mark the questionnaire as complete, hit OK at the bottom, which then closes the questionnaire. So we can now see on the questionnaires tab that we have a completed candidate initiation questionnaire for Rivaroxaban. It has the date that it was completed and a summary of some key information, including the dose that's been chosen. Now, we have determined that this patient is suitable for Rivaroxaban therapy, so the next stage is to set up a new treatment plan. First of all, we have to stop the current warfarin treatment plan. So if we click on treatment plan, this opens the patient's current plan. We hit stop and OK for are you sure. Now you will get a pop-up box at this point just reminding you that if you are stopping a treatment plan for a patient and not starting a new one, then you need to deactivate the patient record on Dawn so it frees a patient license up. So if we go down to the bottom and click on new, this opens a new treatment plan so we can set the patient up for Rivaroxaban. So within primary diagnosis, we choose atrial fibrillation non-valvular. We have the start date. We can select the duration time and the preferred clinic if we wish. Then over on the right hand side under target range, we need to select non-VKA. After that, we need to select the dosing regime. So we will go down to Rivaroxaban 20 mg once daily. This is the dose we chose in the initiation questionnaire. If you select a dosing regime that is different to what you have selected within the initiation questionnaire for Rivaroxaban, Dawn won't let you go any further in setting up the treatment plan. So now we've entered that information, we can click Activate and again OK to the box that pops up. If we then close the treatment plan, we can then see the patient screen has changed and the dosing tab has been replaced by the Rivaroxaban tab, which just informs you that Rivaroxaban therapy is managed using the questionnaires accessed below. Once a patient has been moved to Rivaroxaban therapy, the benefit of using Dawn to do this means that there is continuity in the patient's anticoagulation record. So whilst the history tab is no longer there for warfarin therapy, you can click on the arrows next to the treatment plan box to see both the current treatment and, if we click the back arrow, the previous warfarin treatment and its associated history. We click the right hand arrow, it takes us back to the current treatment. So now that the patient has an active Rivaroxaban treatment plan, you may want to schedule a follow-up for them according to your local protocols. So for example, if you want to see the patient again in 3 months' time to check if the dose is still appropriate and to see if they're having any problems with the therapy, we do this again from the questionnaires tab. So we select the form icon and then select the Rivaroxaban follow-up questionnaire. We select the date of completion for 3 months' time. Let's see them on 19th of September. And then hit OK at the bottom of the screen. You can now see that alongside the completed initiation questionnaire in the questionnaires tab, there is also a Rivaroxaban follow-up questionnaire and the status is set to scheduled with the entry date having the date that the follow-up is due to take place. This date will enable you to use the non-VKA list view in Dawn to find patients who are scheduled for follow-up or who have missed their follow-up. Okay, let's say it's 3 months later and the patient has come in for their follow-up. So we select the Rivaroxaban follow-up questionnaire Again, you can see that some of the fields have been pre-populated, and there is a treatment plan summary based on the information that Dawn holds within the patient record. So we have the diagnosis, we have the regime of Rivaroxaban, 20 mg once daily, the start date, the duration, and the status of the patient. There are now a number of questions to run through with the patient. So we can select the visit type, whether this is in person or over the phone. There are then some compliance questions, so we can determine if the patient has had any compliance problems, if they have been taking their medication or not, and if not, what the reasons are for this compliance. This can all be recorded along here. You are also able to record if the patient has had any adverse events. If the patient has had an adverse event and you click on it, you can then click on the link below, which enables you to follow the protocol for adverse event reporting. Moving down, you can also record whether you recommended that the patient go to accident and emergency for evaluation based on the adverse event that it had, a free text box for any further comments to expand on this. Again, we record the creatinine clearance, and have the opportunity to record any contraindicated drugs, any interacting drugs, or any other anticoagulant or platelet inhibitor. Other contraindications are also recorded, along with hemorrhagic risks. And again, we record the CHAD score by selecting from the drop-down option and also the HAS-BLED score. There's a free text box to record any procedures that the patient may have planned, and again a key information summary box so that you can review the key pieces of information that have been added to the questionnaire. You are then able to see the current Rivaroxaban dose the patient is on, Rivaroxaban 20 mg once daily, and Dawn's suggested dose, which is the same. If you need to make a dose adjustment, you can record that here. Dawn once again just presents the dose options that are available to you and reminds you that you do need to use a clinical judgment before deciding on the most appropriate dose. We can mark that questionnaire as complete and hit OK. And again, we can then see a summary of the completed follow-up questionnaire alongside the initiation questionnaire. So at this point, you may want to schedule another follow-up for the patient in 6 months' time. So again, we hit the form button and the Rivaroxaban follow-up questionnaire link. So in the due date, we can select an appointment for 6 months' time. That's March 2019, and then click OK. And again, as earlier, you can see the next follow-up for Rivaroxaban for this patient has been scheduled for the 20th of March 2019, and the summary states that the questionnaire is scheduled. So this patient will appear on your non-VKA list views. So you can see that the workflow for initiating and following up a patient on non-VKA therapy is a straightforward and easy to use process. It also ensures continuity by enabling you to see the full anticoagulation history for the patient within Dawn AC. If you have any questions, would like to inquire about one of the DOAC modules, or need support with using a DOAC module that you already have installed on your Dawn system, contact the 4S Dawn team today. Thank you.